there's things like that that you could come and teach and talk about. So that's one reason I talk about that. Kind of the general overall game plan is we help people begin small businesses. That will be true for our students. So it will be a business curriculum. They'll graduate with a degree in business. They will initiate and run a business while they're a student. They'll be the manager of their business. Most likely their family will run it back in their village where they come from. When they graduate, they will have a source of income so that they have the financial freedom to run for public office. So it's building into the system what we have been doing, helping people begin small businesses. And so this continues that element. It's just that more of the families we work with will be the families of the students. We're beginning very small. Classes are scheduled to begin this coming February. Opening class will probably be about a dozen, and all they'll be learning early on will be English and Spanish. Have yet to meet a college graduate who understands Spanish grammar. They don't typically know the difference between a period and a comma. Can't punctuate a sentence. If you don't know Spanish correctly, how will you learn English correctly? You don't know what a preposition is in Spanish. So in the early months, it will be just English, Spanish, typing. Never met a college graduate there who could touch type. Would like you to come and teach typing. And then, gradually introduce subjects that don't require as much English skill, like math. And then we'll go from there. And then the class sizes will go from there. So that's kind of introduction of what we're doing. The other big thing that we do locally is we collect things that we give to the poor there. Yesterday we loaded 50,000 pounds of humanitarian cargo in Alexandria, and all loaded by hand, all volunteers who came and did that. And this coming Saturday, so 3 or 4 days from now, we'll do the same again. And then we won't load anymore for about 3 or 4 months. So we typically send 2 loads, and then we rest a few months and collect some more stuff. So the main things we collect are shoes, used clothing, used linens. And so if you can help network about that, if you belong to a community association, a church, if other faith groups, if you have friends who are scouts are often looking for projects like this. Schools are looking for projects. We work when I think, is Mary a part of this group, or just sort of like me, kind of an adjunct, Mary Conklin from Gunston?
She's our point of contact here for Rotary.
Okay. Well, we do a lot with Gunston. At the end of the year, all of their lost and found stuff that hadn't been claimed, they give to us. They do a shoe drive, and their students pack all of the lost and found. This last year was 16 boxes. It was a truckload. And do that with a variety of schools. So if you have contact with schools, scout groups, churches, faith groups, civic associations, just help us spread the word. And again, you have, with the brochure, you have my email address, you have our website. The website tells all the things we collect and don't collect. So maybe that's enough of me kind of spouting out, and take time now for your questions, and we'll kind of discuss the things that you're interested in. Maybe something I didn't say, or something that I did say that you'd like a little amplification on. Yes?
Well, sure. When you were talking about the roots of the situation, the economic situation there, you talked a lot about the poor educational system. And of course a lot springs from that, and you talked a lot about that too. But I'm wondering what other underlying factors are there? I mean, is the government protecting private property rights adequately? Is Honduras that integrated in the world economy? I honestly don't know. But are there other things, big things?
You know, I'm sure that there are a variety of things, there are a variety of causes. One of them is that somehow, and I don't know that much about Honduran history 200 years ago, but somehow they just began poorer than, for example, Guatemala. One of the former presidents of Guatemala owned 25% of Guatemala. There's nobody in Honduras like that. So Honduras just doesn't have some of the big money that some of their Central American neighbors have. So none of the big businesses are owned by Hondurans. Hondurans don't own the cable company. They don't own the beer company. You know, that they don't own just the cell phone companies, the factories. None of that stuff is owned by Hondurans. So part of the problem is that they just began behind, and then that greatly exacerbated by poor education and you know, unethical government. You know, and you know, we could say here, oh well, our government is unethical. I mean, you know, there's two different kinds of unethical, you know, and the kind of unethical that we call here would be super squeaky clean there. I mean, you know, they're first of all, I mean, they don't have a civil service system like we do. So when a new president is elected, which is every 4 years, 5 years, and they can only serve one term, it doesn't make a difference if the party doesn't change. When the president changes, all what we would call civil service people are gone. And those jobs are given to, you know, the president's brother and sister and uncles, and the mayor's brothers, sisters, and uncles and cousins. And so at this conference, we were talking about that. When the president was with us, we were sharing some of our frustration. And one of them is in a hospital that had a piece of very expensive equipment donated, and a person was trained to take care of that machine, and that job of taking care of that machine was a government job. And you know, like in all of Honduras, this is the one guy who had been trained. Well, guess what happened last year when there was an election? Now, you know, the mayor's cousin is in charge of the machine, and he can't even read. You know, so that happens at every level. All the shoes and stuff that you donate and we ship, we have to go through customs. It's not unusual that you get a new customs agent who hasn't a clue what's going on. Maybe can't read. So the civil service system, just everything. You know. But those are all things that Hondurans could fix. And we, Art for Humanity, is not the least bit interested in politics. They have two major parties like we do. They have 3 or 4 minor parties like we do. We hope all of those parties come and get educated and go out and work for the country and do what only they can do. So that's kind of a long answer, and it's not all that specific, but I think education is at the core. Yes?
Poorest thing.
Haiti.
Is it Haiti? Not sure or not.
Pardon me?
Not sure or not.
And you know, it depends who you look at. World Bank will list one, and USAID will list somebody else, and you know, so, but you know,
Pretty obvious the bottom half of that list is probably populated with the same kind of problem.
I would say so. Certainly Haiti is. Now, yeah, Honduras is a young democracy. It's only, I think, in its about 5th presidency, and if you followed the news last year, they had major turmoil, political turmoil there. But, you know, it's a young democracy. They're learning how to do it.
Question on your volunteer-based leadership center. I think it's a great idea for future leadership. How sustainable is it when it's a volunteer type of organization?
Good point. I'll talk about the sustainability from a financial side first. And that is, our goal is that every project we do become financially independent. The last thing we want is somebody dependent long-term on Art for Humanity. So the same is true of this college that we're building. The first thing we did is buy 210 acres. And the second thing we did, we began planting coffee. and now we're in the third year of planting coffee. Harvest will begin in about 3 more years, and then each year the production will ramp up, and it will be the sale of coffee there on the campus that will fund the campus long-term and permanently. The goal is that some Hondurans will be a part of the teaching volunteer cadre of people early on. Probably won't be that many. There are some that we particularly need. I mean, there are not many gringos that know Honduran law. And, you know, if you're going to be a leader, you need to understand Honduran law. And so we're looking for those kind of people. But eventually, the expectation is all of the student grads will come back and teach. You know, they'll each do a volunteer stint to teach. So it'll be maintained financially by the sale of organic coffee, and then volunteer-wise. Hopefully there'll always be some people from the States and other English-speaking countries who are interested in going. Yes?
Sorry, quick question then. Do you need to be able to speak Spanish to volunteer to teach?
No, because it's in English. Unless you want to come and teach the Spanish class. We're looking for somebody that's really good in Spanish grammar, but no, it will be all in English. And interesting, we have volunteers who are signing up from Ireland, South Africa, Australia, and you know, wonders of the internet, people find out about this. Was there a hand here? Yeah.
Yeah, and a couple of years ago, when I was governor, we went down to Honduras, and we carried a bunch of school supplies, and we took them to Chile Gortero. I don't know if you ever heard of that little small community. Couldn't even find it on the map. But the governor there in Augusta Laspe knew where it was at,
Yeah.
and he loaded us up on the Jeeps, and we got all them school boxes full of school supplies, pencils, crayons, coloring books for those kids over there. And they had a big sign up there, welcome, bienvenido, Rotarianos. And they really gave us a real good welcome there. They had a big feast.
Good, good.
Wonderful.
Well, good to be with you.
Thank you so much. This is a little something that we give to you. This is our